Dweik. And before I continue on with my presentation, I want to really thank you for making the time, coming into the conference, and giving us this unique opportunity to discuss and reflect on how we can better serve the banking sector. I work for a company that is called IFINTEC. This company is only specialized and focused on solutions for the banking sector. The presentation that I will be talking about, it has 4 or 3 main stops, and I will try as much as I can to make it as business related as I can, because maybe the majority of you are all business people. They don't come from a technical background. So that's why I'm going to be very sensitive on giving you that business side of the story. So the 4 stops, or the 3 stops that I will be talking about, it will be talking about how to build a better data governance. Because we know, that's the first stop now, because we know that better data means better compliance, right? I cannot be in compliance, I cannot be in compliance with regulatory, to beta data and others and central bank, if I don't have really good data. So that's the first stop. The second stop will lead me, if I have that better quality data, then it will lead me to building a better information platform. What is the really uniqueness about the information platform is that if I have an information platform, it means I can serve my needs as a bank, and I can have my services and products to the outside world. So that's the second stop. The third stop, which is the more interesting, a little bit more complicated, which is talking about the concept behind using data, the big data. We always hear about this, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and the correlation or the relation between that big data with the machine learning. And third, which is very important, your information platform. So those are the 3 main stops. Now, because of the time, and I tested myself, I found myself exceeding or about 25 minutes, and I will not take more than, I hope I will not take more than 25 minutes of your time, because I know I'm stopping you from going to your lunch, and I'll make it as easy as I can, but I will only touch on the advanced analytics in terms of the next best offer, NBO. This is really key for the business continuity of the bank. The next best offer concept says, if Jamal behaves in a way, and Jamal has this kind of static segmentation classification, what is the next best offer that Jamal will says, yes, I will take this product, this bank knows me. So we have a number of advanced analytics or predictive, a number of use cases, but out of what I have, I will only talk about the next best offer. All right, now to set the stage, because for you that is in the IT world, I want you to put in your head the sum of data that you will be analyzing or you could be dealing with. That's one. The second point, the challenges that you could be faced with. So, based on an IBM study back in 2012, it said that the daily data output per person globally is 500 megabytes, which is nothing, right? But let's see how that grew. The Economist, right? This is the Economist. In 2017, made a study saying that 500 megabyte will grow to 62 gigabytes of data per person by 2025. We're in 2019, so I'm assuming that I am, Jamal, is generating on a daily basis around maybe 30 gigabyte, 25 gigabyte, depending on my activities, but I will be around the 20 gigabyte on daily. So that gives you the sum of data, right? The amount of data that your platform should be analyzing, especially if you want to talk about big data, right? Because now the artificial intelligence, the machine learning, the big data, is all about getting that data from the social networks. So you're expecting about 30 gigabyte now to be dealing with. So that's in terms of the size of data, right? Let's see the challenges of data. before I go to what PwC is saying, the data source here, the source of this data is PwC. So before I go into that, let's talk about our experience. Based on the 16 years of life of IFINTEC, 90% of all banks, they have issues in their data quality. 90%, that's huge. And based on some 400 projects that they had undertaken, they're saying that 30 to 40% of needed data, especially for compliance, and this is risky, especially data needed for compliance, it does not even exist electronically. So that's two, based on our observations. Now third, because we're dealing with such a huge data, right, then we're dealing with multiple data sources, right? Your core banking solution in the bank is one data source. You have multiple data sources, and then to add on top of that, you're talking about big data now. Machine learning, artificial intelligence, and all of that is out there. It's not in your data sources. So multiple data sources means what? That Jamal has a profile on my core banking solution, but Jamal has a different profile, could be a different profile on your payment solution, and a third and a fourth. So the number of data sources, as they increase, duplication becomes even scarier. So that's in terms of our observations. So now let's see what PwC are saying in terms of accuracy and the quality of data. They identified 4 key components. They said data in its nature is complex. Okay, that's 1. 2, and I want someone to really take points of this. Why? Because we will see, I promised you, when we build the information platform, we will see how these challenges are being cured using technology, no human interference, daily. So we said complex data infrastructure, 1. 2, limited data quality framework. And I want to emphasize on data quality and word framework. That's 2. 3, limited continuous monitoring. So please, let's underline continuous monitoring. And 4, visibility and transparency. So that's what PwC was saying. Now let's see how we can cure these challenges in the story of our information platform, of your information platform. Okay, I'll come back to this. Okay, this is a mini drawing that it says basically, to the left of the slide, moving to the right, we have data sources. We had already identified a number of them. Your core banking solution is one of them. Big data or social networks is another. Then as you're moving into your information platform, it has to go through what we call data quality hub. What is that data quality hub? The data quality hub, by the way, I will come back to this. Memorize that with me. So the data quality hub, it must go through at least 4 steps. Let's go through step number 1. The data auditor, what we call it. Data auditor, I want you to think of it as a sorter. What do I mean by sorter? It looks at the data sources. It says data source A, or core banking. This information, as it's getting through, it has to go, because it's a compliance data, like for example, the AML, the anti-money laundering the required data, like your customer, the KYC information, the transaction, right? All of this. So it goes, it says, oh yeah, this is compliance data, so this is from data source A, it should go where? To data mart, or to a universe in my information platform. So the data auditor checks on the consistency where the data should reside in which repository that you have. That's step 1. Now step 2, the GDPR PSD2. GDPR, it basically says, Jamal has information on his KYC. Then I should have a consent saying this data can be shared with whom, for which period of time, and what type of data that can be shared. So the GDPR labels your data, saying what can be shared, what cannot be shared, and for how long. That's step 2. Now let's talk about step 3. Step 3 really is the queen of the data quality hub. Why do I call it the queen? Because it basically says a dynamic validation rule engine. What do I mean by this big word? It means if Jamal, for example, has an address in Istanbul. My address is in Istanbul, but my telephone number, for example, is 00970. So when my KYC information came in to this data quality hub, it looks at it, it says, okay, we have a KYC record. Jamal has an address of Istanbul, but telephone number is 00970. Is that right? Is that right? No, it's not. 00970, that's a Palestine country code, while in Istanbul is 0090. So it right away will shoot out an alert saying this is a discrepancy, there is something wrong. It will send it to your CRO or whoever related saying this is a KYC record with incorrect or inconsistent data. That's, by the way, the validation rule engine does not work only on static information, it works also on financial data. Like for example, if I have the principal amount and the number of installments, if there is a discrepancy in the record that is moving from your data sources into your information platform, inconsistency in calculations, it will also flag it. So the validation rules engine does not only work on static information, it works also on your financial data. So that's what 3 steps. Let's talk about the 4th and last step in our data or in your data quality hub. What should be at least in your data quality hub? Okay, this is a little more details to the technical people here. It's called Key Data Element Library. Libraries are known to have a lot of books, a lot of information, and too many, books, assuming if they are books. The Key Data Element Library will look at your compliance solutions. So for example, I'll take an example to illustrate what do I mean by key data element. Let's assume that you are deploying FATCA and the CRS, Common Reporting Standard. We know CRS? Who knows CRS? 2, 3, 4 only. Okay, 5. FATCA, I'm sure maybe more people know FATCA than the Common Reporting Standard. So FATCA, for example, it looks at the country of citizenship. So in other words, the Key Data Element Library will look at my data sources and will say the citizenship field within my data sources, it should be a Key Data Element Library. So what it does, it looks at the data as it moves in. It says, okay, citizenship is USA, then this person, there is additional process that should be undertaken. For example, sign in what? Who knows what a citizenship, a US citizenship, a W8 form or a W9 form, right? W9. Thank you. So this is what Key Data Element Library does. It looks at you, by the way, I gave a very simple example on FATCA. I want you to imagine that all of your compliance solutions that you're deploying, and that's why I told you memorize the next slide after this. All of your compliance solutions, they have key data elements. And every key data element within what you are deploying in compliance will reside in this library and will be monitored and checked daily. Any discrepancy or changes, it will flag to your compliance department or to the CRO or to whatever related department responsible, telling them there is a problem here in this record. So this is the data quality hub, and these are the steps that will be taken on a daily, by the way. This is daily, at least once a day. Daily. Now, all right, so back to here. So data sources to the left, I'm sorry, I must have put too many. Data sources goes into your data quality hub and now resides in the information platform. So the information platform that we have, this one. Now we are guaranteed that all of the information that you have in your data sources first were unified, duplications are gone, data is 100% compliance, there's no issues, and now it can be consumed by any of your compliance, or any application, by the way, but I want to emphasize compliance, because I know how how big data is really enforcing penalties. I know how the gold is enforcing penalties. So I know if I am in compliance, if my data is correct, I'm at least safe in terms of paying unnecessary fees for penalties. All right, and what do I mean by the dots is that this is enclosed. And I'll tell you why. Okay, now this is the slide before the last. So that's relief for all of us to go to our lunch and have a breather. Okay, this is a let me explain it first, the different diagrams in it, so I can tell you the story behind it. Okay, this is the information platform, right, that we built together. And these icons, or these are engines and utilities that are built on top of your information platform. What do I mean by engines and utilities? By the way, if I want the profitability is an engine, right? So it will be on top of your information platform. I'll tell you another example. If you want to calculate risk, IFRS 9, there are some calculations there, an engine that will calculate that. So it will sit on top of your information platform, and it has to be on top of your information platform, because that's the only place that I know that the data is correct. Because if my calculations are performed on not quality data, then my report for IFRS 9 or Basel 3 soon will go trash. Okay, so that's what I mean by these. Okay, and then over here, my data sources, and why you have dots, that means they're closed, no one can touch them. Then up here, on top, the round blue circles, this is the big data. Now, I kind of talked about what do I mean by this diagram. Before I go on with our scenario with the next, I promised for what scenario? The next best offer, right? Before I go on to that, I will talk about these pillars. Now, self-service BI, we all know that. But if I want to talk about self-service BI really quick, along with the chatbot, anyone here in the finance department could be called right now to an urgent meeting, right? Urgent meeting. So this finance department CFO will go run to my meeting. Now what happens is that I'm 100% sure of it, that this CFO will be asked certain questions about, for example, the profitability. What is the 10 profitable branches we have at Akbank, for example, or at Al Baraka, the 10 most profitable branches. So the CFO had just been called to this meeting, not having enough time to prepare, right? Or maybe we'll grab all of these reports and run with it. So the chatbot and the self-service BI guarantees you that, for example, will recognize you, will say, yeah, Mr. Jamal, for example, he's the CFO, so I know his profile on his phone. I will give him right away what could be asked in self-service BI in a term of a chatbot. It will ask me, the chatbot will ask me, what do you want today? I want profitability. I click profitability. What do you want in profitability? I want the 10 most profitable branches, for example. So in a matter of seconds, imagine if you are in a meeting, you can fulfill that question just like that. Chatbot and self-service BI. And why is it possible? Because it's built on that platform that had collected all of your information, right? Collected all of the information that you have on this platform, on the information platform, and you can build on top of it whatever you want. Okay. Okay, API. Please raise your hands here. Any bank, or if I have enough IT people, a bank that has an API platform that serves the third. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, grade 7. Okay, I'll tell you. The difference between this API and your API is what? Can someone tell me? No. Exactly, it's the data quality hub. The API, this API, when it gets called by a third party, assuming that you want to have a payment, a third-party payment solution implemented. So this solution will tell you, I need information about the customer, the transaction, blah, 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 right? If you're going through a different API, the API will serve this information, will give you the information about the customer, what their address, what they're making, what their transactions. So what did we forget? Within this API, it checks on GDPR and PSD2. It says, can I give this information for this third party or not? So if you have in a platform for APIs, you make sure to have it run across the GDPR PSD2 or you will be in trouble. So that is the uniqueness about having such a storyboard that will cover you in all perspectives, because otherwise you will have a vendor implementing a solution, asking an API, you happily provided that API, forgetting about the GDPR and PSD2 directives. Okay, story done. One last, I will talk about how this big data, I promised you that what is the big data and what is the predictive analytics with your information platform. I want to talk about or quote Mr. Gokhan from Akbank when he said, you have to depend on both. You have to depend on AI and human. You cannot only have AI alone. And I will show you that this is 100% correct. And Ms. Amal said, you have behavioral. She said behavioral. If you don't have the behavioral trend of a given customer, then you have a missing story. So, having these two ideas by Ms. Amal and Mr. Gokhan, I will tell you the story about big data. Now, the big data, what happens? You do have frameworks ready and algorithms ready that will employ the social networks data, will perform some algorithms on it, and will come up with a behavioral pattern about a person. What entices this person? What moves this person? Now, with very small tweaking, you will get a flavored, I want to call it, flavored AI next best offer. Flavored AI. Because I need that behavioral sense of that. What moves this person? Now, it has to, along with, and I wrote them in red here, segmentation. It has to work with segmentation. Why? Because I have the behavioral, I need to know what class is this person and what segment is this person. So on top of my platform, I should have these utilities saying the segment and classification. It works with behavioral and will say, for example, jet ski is the next best offer for this person. Now the jet ski, because I identified the next best offer, it will go into my campaign generator. The campaign generator will push the NBO, next best offer, into my marketing lists and will stay there waiting on the very next touch point. And I want to call it, why did I call it touch point by the customer? Because the customer does not have necessarily to walk into my branch to perform this. It could be using their tablet, their phone, or my e-channels. And it will wait there until the first touch point and will push it right away. We'll say, Mr. Jamal, you are qualified for a loan for a jet ski. Are you interested? So based on my social networks and behaviors, loving to go on jet skis and looking at my Facebook and my Instagram, saying that Jamal went, these places and having, the jet ski and pictures and what have you, this is what the artificial intelligence had performed. It identified that behavior. It identified my lust in the jet skis, and therefore it pushed that for me. So 80% of the time, the next best offer based on this, based on the artificial intelligence and your segmentation together, it pushed that to them. Now, the icing on the cake will become what? The RPAs up there. That's robotic process automation. If Jamal says, yes, I'm interested, the RPA will move that request automatically, puts it in my CRM, and sends it to my CRO, Customer Relation Operations, and says, this person already was pre-approved for his or her loan, and now the jet ski is your finance way of moving, a record in your loans application. So that is the story and the correlation between how we can use that in a very high level architecture. The last slide, Deloitte said that in order to have your business continuity as a bank, you need to systematically and proactively achieve compliance. This is the one here in orange. Safeguard your data sources. And third, service to the outside world. Imagine the competing priorities. I want to service the outside world and safeguard. So within a platform that we had just illustrated and how we talk, it's meeting all of these pillars at least. And I'll leave those for you to take. It says take advantage of new technologies and experiencing, and remaining. There are existing and emerging technologies. They're touching on, analytics. They're touching on predictive. And the last point, they say digitizing your process. RPAs, which is the robotic process automation, is a way of digitizing, smartly digitizing your processes. And finally, thank you for being with me in this day again. Thank you for giving me this chance. We are a few of us here in Jannat, Istanbul. Mr. Ammar Douglas is with me. He's head of research and development. And my colleague, Muhammad Jalal, is also here. And I am. We are so happy to see you. And please approach us with questions of how we can help you in your journey in the analytics and predictive analytics. Thanks very much.